Today we have another amazing guest. I'd like to introduce you to Ugo Mozie, a cutting-edge entrepreneur, fashion designer, and stylist. His personal mission is to educate, elevate, and inspire the world using entertainment, sustainability, and his African backstory as a foundation. And as a top celebrity stylist and designer, Ugo's clients have included Justin Bieber, Travis Scott, Celine Dion, Beyonce, Chris Brown, Diddy, and more. And he's also exclusively styling individual celebrities now. As a fashion expert, he speaks on panels and conferences around the world, focusing on how to change the global narrative of fashion and with sustainability and his African culture as a background. Ugo, welcome to our Ecoflix podcast.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be here. How's it going, David? It's been a while since I've seen you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, and for your inspiration that led to my background for today.
I love it. I love the colors. It's vibrant. You're parting the butterfly sea, it looks like.
Well, I've taken my inspiration from you. So, as a creative entrepreneur, you've worn many hats. It's really quite interesting. And starting the launch of your own clothing line in 2009, 2021, you started a faux fur collection. You were public relations director for Vivienne Westwood, and you're developing a luxury hat brand. I mean, congratulations for all of that. But I'm curious, would be amazing successes for anybody, but particularly for someone with your life story. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the challenges you faced and had to overcome to reach literally the global pinnacle of fashion?
Well, honestly, David, it has definitely been a journey. It's been so many speed bumps, learning curves, adventures along the way. And for me, I'm somebody that I've always been able to embrace challenges and ride a challenge by its horns. As an immigrant, someone that moved here at an early age from Nigeria, I've never been shy to a challenge. Coming here on its own, learning English for the first time, learning how to adapt to a new environment. I've always been in a position where I've had to learn and adapt. And I think that, in my journey, that's been the biggest strength, is being able to adapt even through like times that were the most challenging. Being in the fashion world, I feel, well, I know it's honestly the most judgmental place or industry in the world. I'm in an industry that thrives on material, that thrives on judging how people look, how people dress, how people create. Every single day, it's about people's opinions on what we're creating, how we look. So for me, that was definitely one of the hardest challenges, was being able to overcome just the judgment of the industry. Someone like, for me, I've never really been in a place where I've fit completely in. I've always been a circle trying to fit into a square, or vice versa. So when I got into the fashion world and I learned that, this place is about, it's about embracing your individuality and not allowing other people's opinion to really to strain you from how you feel about yourself. That's what I feel was one of my biggest lessons and one of the biggest blessings at the same time.
Yeah, it's hard for me, having been born here and kind of been growing up on a path that was relatively expected. I don't think anybody can live the life that was exactly expected, but I feel like I didn't deviate far from the road that was made available to me. You've literally created your own path, your own future, your own destiny. I mean, it's quite inspiring. I'm curious. You're partly now spending time as a personal stylist for celebrities. What exactly does that mean?
Yes, so the journey of becoming a celebrity stylist, it started with me just falling in love with the idea of creating, designing fashion. I was designing clothing and designing fashion for myself when I was in high school. So I moved from Los Angeles to Houston. And when I was in Houston, the stores that were around, nowhere really had the things that I wanted to wear, the things I felt were my style. So I just made it myself. And that was pretty much like the beginning of me getting involved in fashion. When I moved to New York, I went from working as a marketing intern at Virgin Records to starting my own fashion brand, which is called Aston Mozie at the time. So from starting my own fashion brand and designing led to costume design for like movies and TV shows. And then that led into me developing my own clients as a celebrity stylist. So as a celebrity stylist, it includes image directing, creative directing, brand management, and overall image management for my talent. Some of my job and roles are not only getting the clothes the artist wears, but also creating strategic partnerships, relationships, creating campaigns, and long-term work and projects like in the fashion space for my artists and my talent.
Amazing. So I'm just thinking out loud, if you were my stylist, I would probably be driving you crazy, aside from the fact that I lack a real style sense. But the idea of my weight changing and these clothes all fit perfectly, and then is that something you go through even with celebrities, or do they all seem to manage their stay
Uh,
very constant?
First of all, your style is actually impeccable. I've seen an outfit or two.
Oh,
You have really great style. But yeah, absolutely. Like anybody else, celebrities are human, like anybody else, they fluctuate in weight, they fluctuate in temper, they fluctuate in mood, and these three things play a large factor to what you wear or how you want to dress every day. So yeah, for me, it's important to definitely stay on top of my clients and understand what their body types are doing. Because if there's one day, you might be a size 30-inch waist, and then 2 months later, now you're a size 34. And if I come to our fitting with everything in that other size, then we're pretty much we're
screw.
pretty much in a bad place,
Yeah.
So
Do
it's
you,
my job to definitely stay ahead of the curves, the body types, and what's happening over there.
I can't imagine the phone call. David, we're going to be getting together such and such a date. Have you gained any weight? Do I have to take your clothes out again?
Just give me a heads up. I'm not gonna tell you what to eat or what to do, but if you know that you put on a couple pounds,
I,
just let me know.
I have enough trouble dealing with weight gain and loss myself, but the idea that I have to tell somebody else would make me crazy.
Oh
But
my God. There have been times when I've came to a fitting and I've been hit by a surprise.
oh,
And yeah, so I learned to now always bring like an array selection of sizes a little up and
uh,
down. I always bring kind of like, I'll
alternatives.
bring what I think is gonna work, and I'll bring something a little bigger, a little looser, just different vibes, just to
Brilliant.
make sure, especially if I haven't seen you for a while. For the most part, my main clients I work with on a weekly kind of basis. So I'm able to track the weight like that. But if I haven't seen you for a while, or if it's our first time working together,
Or it's
I'm,
right after the
I'm not gonna
holidays.
trust. I'm not gonna trust you to tell me your sizes. Like, you believe it or not,
Yeah,
so many people like don't even know what their actual sizes are. So
Well,
I could still go in and make my own professional assessment. And sometimes to tell people like, no, you're actually a 38.
well, between Thanksgiving and the New Year, I got to believe a lot of people would be, giving you problems. But anyway, that said, as much as I'm impressed and interested in your work in fashion in general, of real interest, and the reason why I'm so excited to have you here on Ecoflix is because of your focus on creating luxury fashion without harming any animals in the process. Can you start by telling me, first of all, how you came to that? Because a lot of people, particularly in an industry where there's a lot of money flying around, they don't really care usually about who gets hurt. They're just interested in the money. So how did it happen that you became interested in protecting animals as part of the fashion world?
So it really started with me just falling in love with animals in general, and also realizing like how close we all really are. About 8 years ago, I stopped eating meat, and around that time, it was like a whole 360 life changing experience for me. When I stopped eating meat was when I started realizing like just the danger and both the food and the textile industry are causing on animals. And that was really the turning point for me, was when I turned vegan, and I really eliminated animal products like out of my life. I started doing a lot more research on the harm my personal industry was creating to animals, and that's when I decided it was time to
Oh,
make a change.
it's amazing, and you're obviously um, it's a good time, but you're still fighting the current. I mean, most people, especially in fashion, really just want the best look, the best feel, whatever it might be. And even the fur industry took just forever to, sort of take a hard look at the problem and see what the alternatives were. And you're dealing with an industry that is all about sort of the me, not the who cares about the other people. How do you create luxury fashion without harming animals in the process?
So I totally agree with you. And it really comes back to the conscience of people. I think as information, via social media and the internet, as people began to become more exposed to information, they started seeing what's really going on behind the scenes. A lot of people are instinctively attached to the sweet feelings of animal fur and animal beauty and the wildlife. However, like, many are also appalled by the way animal fur is produced in these harmful factories. The way animals are treated, collected, the way the industry is ran is so horrific and scary. Thankfully today, technologies and innovations are allowing us to have new ways to design amazing ethical alternatives to fur.
Which is so good. I mean, I don't want to get into the details because I know some of them. And I mean, just in general, the way they strip the fur from live animals it's hard to believe that any human could call that their business and just do it day in and day out. It's breathtaking. And the idea of creating a faux fur is really exciting. Where does that come from? How do you do that?
So there's many different ways and materials to create faux fur with. Like, the idea has been around for about a decade, but it wasn't up until about 5 years ago when the fashion industry as a whole started taking more of a stance. So for example, there's been ways to create fur out of hemp, fur out of plastic, fur out of wood, fur out of all kinds of materials. So, and not only fur, but leather, skins. There's many different ways to get these alternative solutions made. It's just about the education and being able to educate the brands and give them access to this, which is why I began working with this company called Ecopel, which we go into a bit later, but
Yeah.
that's what we're doing with them.
Yeah, I want to talk about more, but I'm curious in a bigger scope, what does sustainability in fashion mean to you? I mean, I summon up probably visions that are quite off the mark. So, and for those of us who are listening and interested, how does that actually come into play when you're trying to make sustainable fashion wear?
So the fashion industry is one of the largest industries in the world. And it's also the second most polluting industry globally. Like apparel production has doubled over the past 15 years to meet the consumer's demand in a high fashion and fast fashion space. So sustainable fashion and textile production, to really create that, it involves eco-friendly and undepleting material selection and environmentally friendly manufacturing. If all brands can hold themselves accountable to this, like the world as a whole will be a much better place. So
Oh, there's
sustainability in fashion, it goes far more than just the textiles. It's also where they're found, how they're created, who's manufacturing it, how the workers are treated, the condition of the workers, and the condition of everything, the whole entire ecosystem.
so, I mean, that's of course amazing. And I think the more people are interested in it, the more discovery of those kinds of new products that maybe emulate animal skins and furs and things will come along for the future. And I'm curious, where are we? What does sustainability in fashion look like in 2023?
Sustainability in fashion today is actually in a very productive place. We found that with companies like Ecopel, who've been around for the past 15 years, leading, looking for innovative solutions for creating the best quality faux furs, they've developed high-end faux fur for more than 300 top fashion brands, like which have completely stopped using fur, such as Armani, Gucci, Michael Kors, Versace. Like a lot of these high fashion brands and companies that were known for their fur and known for their skins have now adapted the sustainable solutions. I think that society as a whole, we are now more aware of our carbon footprints and of our impact individually to the world, and realizing that it's actually much more cool, much more like fashionable, much more intelligent for you to wear something that doesn't have to harm another being for you to look good.
Well, that's certainly the goal, and there are millions of animals that will thank you. I am curious, in 2021, you created your own faux fur collection, and that's when you started working, I gather, with Ecopel.
Yes.
And
Yes. So in 2021, my friend Baptiste Giabconi, he's Parisian and lives out there. He decided to collaborate with Ecopel and brought me involved as the designer of the collection. So backtrack. Before then was a faux fur and faux skin manufacturer.
mm,
So they produced for all the brands. The brands came to them to make the clothing, make the fur, make the actual jackets, the actual gloves, like to produce. But in 2021, they decided for the first time to create their own collection, the first ever EcoPel collection. So they brought me in and Baptiste in to design it. And it was just such a great special experience with business partner, Julian Sarafi. Like we're able to have like unlimited access to all the colors and textiles and patterns and feels. And it was then that I really saw that there really isn't any real use and necessity of fur or using skins like for clothing. Like there for sure are equal or even better alternatives that are now made eco-friendly out of vegan leather, out of hemp leather, out of like hemp fur, out of biodegradable material. There's so many different, options now that for me, like it's amazing to see brands make that switch, but it's still a fight. It's still a journey. It's still a process. There's definitely still a lot of brands that are not following this and are still harming animals. But I think that, as more people like us understand, do our part not to buy it. It's important as consumers to do our part not to support the sale of furs and skins. If there's no consumer, then there's nothing to sell. They have to lower the demand if the supply. They have to lower the supply if the demand stops. So for us, it's really important for us, to tell our neighbors, our friends, our communities, the importance of protecting these animals. Like there's so many animals that are amazing for the environment that are becoming extinct just because people want to use them for their horns or their ivory or their skins. It makes it's just heartbreaking when I think about the decline of elephants, for example, like just like an elephant, something that's like an animal that's just so pivotal and an important for all of our lives, childhoods. The fact that like elephants are now becoming extinct of material usages it's so disappointing. And this is like why we as a whole have to really take a stand and do our individual part to protect these animals that can't protect themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, elephants are near and dear to my heart. I've been involved in trying to protect them for years, and it's a very uphill fight in many places. But I'm curious, what are the challenges that go along with this? I mean, you're trying to move away, obviously, from people have valued fur and particular furs, mink and this and that, but that doesn't seem to be the current thought process. So what is it that makes, for example, a faux fur really desirable as opposed to a less high quality faux fur? I wouldn't know the distinction. If you said to somebody, this is a true mink coat, everybody would immediately think, oh, that's valuable. And God knows how many minks gave their lives for it. But when you're talking about faux fur, how do you value that? What are the challenges of kind of creating an industry that where none existed?
I think the value is ecological value and also conscience value. The story behind the product is what really creates the value. Like the reason why people think that mink or beaver or whatever is valuable is because they feel like there's a rarity in the animal. Like they feel like there was a process in making it. It was harder to make. Um, that same concept goes into as well. Like if you're wearing a beautiful, like faux fur, warm, white, floor length coat, and someone tells you, like, oh, this is a really nice coat. Like, what is it made of? And you say, like, oh, this chic coat was made out of plastic bottles found in the Pacific Ocean along Thailand, and it created this. Like, what a story! Like, I feel like you can be even more proud saying that than like, oh, we killed 30 beavers to make this. I think it's about it's about just like the storytelling of it, letting people understand that there's a lot more value in you protecting the environment and wearing something that comes from an amazing story rather than coming from blood or death. Like, it's such a different concept. And that's what I've been able to really educate people on, is like, how cool is it to be able to wear something that's like made from something that's making the earth a better place. Like, your jacket, if you throw your jacket in the ocean in 2 years, it'll be completely disintegrated. It's not out there like suffocating animals and killing fish. Like, there's like, that's the consciousness I feel like humans as a whole are working towards. Like, I have a Tesla, and I believe I have solar power in my house. I truly believe in the importance of conserving the environment as a whole. It's not just in one place, but it's a complete lifestyle. And like any other electric car owner, they can testify, how beautiful and amazing and smooth it is, and also cost efficient with the gas prices and the electrical bill prices. Like not only is the sustainable solution better for the environment, like, it looks better, it's prettier, but it's also more cost efficient. The same for the fur. Like, you can kill 30 animals to make this jacket, or you can take 4,000 plastic bottles out of the ocean. Like, that's gonna clean the ocean, help clean the ocean out, help make the world a better place, and make an amazing piece. Like, and save money. Like, come on. I think it's a no-brainer for me, but it's really about, continuing the conversation and making sure everyone else sees and knows that this is possible.
Yeah, I'd love to start seeing some of these fashions. I've not seen any of them really because I'm not in the middle of it. And we should probably give EcoPel a little bit of love here. Talk about their story to the extent that you know. How did they switch over from fur to sustainable product?
Well, actually, EcoPel never made fur. Like, they came in with the idea of disrupting the industry and disrupting the market and really introducing a solution to animal cruelty.
Oh,
So
I misunderstood you before. I thought you said that they used to make fur. They were putting it all together.
no, I probably meant the other, like, other brands that
Ah,
used to make fur that then have chosen EcoPel to produce and create the solution for them. Like I said, they work with over 300 high fashion brands in the
yeah.
world, and they've been able to help these brands kind of flip and turn the table. They're currently located in Paris, and that's where their production facility is, where they produce is, and they're even going into animal products like animal rugs, animal clothing, and it's really amazing to see the the possibilities and how far we can take the sustainable clothing and sustainable textiles too.
So you're saying they duplicate him like a leopard skin, but it's not from leopard, that kind of thing.
Yes, no, but but also like dog carpets for your dog to lay on, and so I helped them actually design a dog rug. And it's the most softest, most plushest like carpet you've ever felt.
Wow.
And I've never seen any dog or cat like not love it. I've
Hmm.
gifted it to a few of my friends. And their dogs are just obsessed because, like, just like the softness of it. But yeah, so they're now going into like animal products, and animals have proven that they love it too. So we're definitely in a space where sustainability is going across all the markets.
That's excellent news. And so when you're talking about your products with EcoPel, tell me a little bit about what you're doing.
So we actually have our line. It's still out. It's currently available at their gallery in Paris. And still we're currently and constantly adding more designs to the collection, whether it's hats or bags or capes. We're always pushing the envelope and expanding the possibilities of what we can make with faux fur.
Amazing. So you're also a co-owner of a clothing line, IN Official, and that's a men's sustainable contemporary fashion and streetwear design. Tell me about that.
Yes. So about 7 years ago, I launched this brand, IN Official, and UMIN in Nigeria, in Lagos. We got a factory, and we hired a bunch of tailors and seamstresses, and we got them trained to be able to produce and manufacture in the highest possible quality. And within our factory, we use all sustainable fabrics. So all our fabrics are either recycled garments, or they're textiles that are made in northern Nigeria out of cotton and out of like linen. So like we really pride ourselves in the fact that we don't allow no, and the fact that we use all sustainable materials, and the fact that we, as a factory in Nigeria, we're able to create and produce products there that are able to be exported around the world. So again, with our designs and with our aesthetic, we can show that sustainability can come out of Africa, and it can also look very fashionable, feel high fashion, and it can fit for everybody, because not everybody loves fur. So in our line in Legos, we specialize in more ready to wear pieces like suits, casual wear, sweats, elevated like lounge wear, just like your everyday vibes to your formal vibes, but everything is made out of sustainable materials.
And people who want to buy these, how would they find them? They're online.
Yeah, they can find them at umin.com, inofficial.com, or on the Instagram at inofficial.
Nice. Now, another exciting part of your work is protecting animals and the environment with sustainability initiatives and educational projects in Africa. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so with that also circles back to the UMIN factory. With our factory, we train on a monthly basis different seamstresses, different tailors. We train aspiring fashion designers. We have mentorship programs and workshops where we're constantly educating the locals and the artists on ground on how they can also create, produce, and design using sustainability as the foundation.
That's awesome. And for that purpose, I understand you formed a nonprofit. We Are New Africa, WANA. Can you
Yes.
tell us about that?
Yes. So we have our nonprofit, WANA, which stands for We Are New Africa, that we launched about around the same time with the factory, about 7, 8 years ago. And with this is the platform that we have our workshops and our panels, our talks, our giveaways, just like our charitable aspect of our brand all goes under WANA. So we try to have like different drives, different educational seminars that we can constantly be able to empower and teach the youth because I believe so much that the real change and the real impact will start with the youth and the children. You know, if we can educate and teach them how to make wiser decisions, it's going to impact the future. You know, adults are are a lot harder to adapt new routines, a lot harder to adapt new ideologies. But if we start them young, then it goes on forever. So I think it's really important to really focus a lot of our education on the younger demographics.
Hugely important. That's why Ecoflix is free to schools. It's the same concept, and I totally agree with you. But tell us a little more about what exactly is We Are New Africa doing? How is it helping animals, people? What's the like day-to-day business of WANA?
So on a day to day, we collaborate with different organizations around the world that are interested in making an impact and helping the youth and the children in Africa. You know, we have seminars and our own classes. We also partner with different programs that focus on the rehabilitation of animals and also so for example, we have this observatory in northern Nigeria that we are working with. Like what they do is they like spend all their time, like 24 hours a day, like going out into the areas that are destructed, areas that are in drought, and they save the animals, especially the exotic animals like the antelopes, the lions, the tigers. Like they save them, they bring them to this place and eventually figure out the best environment, whether it's in Kenya or South Africa or Uganda, and they take them around. I remember 3 years ago, they found this white lion, and it was a white baby albino lion, and it had no parents. Like apparently they found him in the wild, and it was just like that moment really showed me like the importance of what they do, because obviously it would have been killed. You know, that it would not have survived at all without them. So, you know, they're one charity that's really important for us. Like they're local, they're in Nigeria. It's a very small group of people. It's about 10 of them that work in this nonprofit. And, you know, we collaborate and help them with funding as well to make sure that they're able to continue what they're doing. And I also work with another refugee camp in Uganda called the Nakivale Refugee Camp. And they not only work with humans, but they work with animals as well. They help with conserving and protecting and creating a safer space for refugees and endangered species.
That's very cool. You know, there are a number of different ways to help animals, but I think one of the biggest is to move people away from furs and skins and things like that. I'm curious, for those of us who are not in the world and fashion world and don't know these alternatives, what kinds of products can you buy that are fashionable, stylish, if you will, but not made from animals? I mean, every leather belt that you've ever owned, you know, the more exotic ones, you know, crocodile and ostrich and things like that, somebody died for your belt. What kinds of things? I mean, I've seen them where they stamp them so they look like those, but how does that whole process work? How far does it go? What is it made out of? How do they turn it into something like that?
Yeah, so right now, like thanks to companies like Ecopel and many others that specialize in creating alternative fabrics, there are alternative solutions to everything that is made out of animals, whether it's a belt or a watch strap or a leather jacket. There's a vegan or a sustainable option to everything. It's just about doing the research and figuring out. Now it's like with Google, and different fashion sites, like we can make that conscious decision to say, okay, like, I do need a new belt, a black belt. However, I want to wear a black belt that's made out of vegan leather. And so we'll look for the vegan leather belt and we'll find it. It may not be as as accessible today. However, if we do our part to look for it and seek it and buy it, that's going to raise the demand for these products, which will cause the manufacturers to produce more and make it more accessible. It's our job to build the demand.
That's great. But how would you go about looking for something like that? You go to stores, you're going to see whatever they have on their shelves. If you go online, I guess you have a choice. So EcoPel's one way. Do you just go on? I mean, does EcoPel make everything from, like you said, jackets to belts to fur coats?
Well, like I was saying, most of these high fashion brands now have like the option. So if you Google what brands make sustainable leather belts,
Mm.
like there will be a list of brands to choose from. You will get recommendations. If you Google where can I find vegan leather trousers for men, they are going to give you options 100% or brands that make this. And then you can dig deeper from there. But I would totally say to start online. Thank God for technology. We're able to save a lot of time by just looking things up, online rather than having to go to the store itself. Call the store on the phone. If you're looking for a Gucci belt, maybe you can like give Gucci a call and say, "Hey, do you guys make any vegan leather belts?" Then the answer is going to be either yes or no. If they say no, we'll ask them why not. Say maybe you guys should consider having this because it will change the game for you. I think it's a continuous active conversation, that once we realize that this is the right thing to do, it's our job as a whole to push it. If your favorite brand doesn't make sustainable leather pieces, you should maybe write them, on Instagram, say, I love your pieces, I love your brand, but I can no longer support because you guys don't have any solutions that are that are not cruel to animals. I think that the more of these the more of these intentional messages and feedback we give these brands, they actually really listen. Like you'd be surprised, like there's like these brands all pay social media teams simply to just look out for feedback. That's all they're for. So go out and DM them on Twitter, on Instagram, DM on the comments, let them know how you feel. Because like at this point, it is extremely important for, every brand that is making leather to know and to start working on another solution.
That's amazing. So for those of us who don't know, I mean, I have some non-leather leather belts, but I have no idea what they're made out of or what alternatives there might be. Are there some that are better than others or maybe more eco-friendly than others? What are the eco alternatives if you're talking about things like leather?
So, like I mentioned before, there are amazing alternatives to leather, to animal leather. Like there are different kinds of vegan leathers that are made out of like hemp, that are made out of plastics, that are made out of cotton, that are made out of linen. Like there's many faux options now that are being made out of different materials from, again, like from mushrooms to hemp to grass. There's so many to from pineapple leaves. I've seen banana leaves. I've seen different kinds of plants being fermented and turned into materials. So there's
Wow.
endless, yeah, so there's endless solutions. It's a matter of which one fits your aesthetic or what you're looking for.
Well, the aesthetic, of course, is just imprinted onto the leather. What's your opinion? Give us the inside scoop on which are more the, I don't know what the right word is. I don't know if it's more realistic, but which ones do you think are the best among those? Are some much more, do they last longer? Do they look better? Do they feel better? I mean, what kinds of things should we look for?
I would look at hemp leather and I would look at vegan leather.
And what does
Like,
vegan leather mean? I mean, it's vegan normally is used in terms of what you eat. So what does it mean when you're saying vegan leather?
so when I say vegan leather, it's made out of anything but
An
animal
animal.
products.
Okay,
Anything but animal products. So it goes into again like from plants. I've seen some amazing mushroom leather
really?
that's extremely soft, extremely durable.
Hmm.
Like yes, there's different materials that are made into leathers.
So that's cool. I'm gonna go look for mushroom leather belt. That should be very interesting. Um, this is very exciting stuff. I really appreciate not only the totality of your story, but your input and support for change, moving us in a better direction. And I really appreciate you coming on Ecoflix and sharing with us. And hopefully it will inspire many, many people. Um, and who knows how many more fashion clients you're going to pick up this way.
Yes, yes. I'm so excited for the future of sustainability and the future of faux. I just feel like the more we spread the word, the closer we are to really saving the animals and saving the world.
Well, that's such a huge piece because fashion, as you said, has been one of the real sad sort of. I can understand why cavemen wore fur. We don't need to, and I appreciate your efforts to really advance the ball in that and all these related areas. And again, thank you for coming on today and sharing your expertise with us.
It's my pleasure anytime. Thank you so much, David. It was a pleasure. I can't wait to go and visit the elephants with you
Okay, looking forward to that too.
and hitting that golf too. I have
All
not
right,
forgotten.
we're going for that.
All right,
All
have a
right,
beautiful day.
thank you.